Happy Thursday. It's a nice and bright sunny day today here in Monterey County. How you doing, Jose?
Great, great. How are you doing, Robert?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just getting this started. To welcome everyone to our tax tips on Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about digital assets. And my name is Roberto with Latino Tax Pro.
All right. And then my name is Josue Rojas, and I'm also with Latino Tax Pro in Lopez Tax Service.
Awesome. All right, Jose, to get our segment started, I'm gonna ask you a question, a simple question regarding digital assets. So,
Sure.
what are digital assets, and like what is a virtual currency? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So it used to be called digital currency on the tax forms. They used to everybody call it digital currency. Bitcoin, that stuff. But now they changed the verbiage or the wording to digital assets. So that's going to be the new lingo is digital assets. So digital assets is basically anything that's in a digital form. It could be like cloud storage, presentations, digital media, graphics, uh, Word documents. It could be PDF documents. It could be website domains. So anything that's kind of like in a digital asset, that's what it's going to be for that. So it's going to be anything that comes into a digital or data type form. And if you do own it, that means you own the usage rights to that form or to that asset. So, digital assets, you actually own the usage rights or the permissions for that use. So, that's basically what that means on there. Perfect. Good question, Robert.
Awesome, thank you, Jose. And I do have another question for you. So, when it comes to the virtual currencies, how is it treated for federal income tax purposes?
Okay, so it's gonna be I consider it as an investment. So you're actually putting your investment into that digital currency, hoping that it will maybe go up. It might go down, but you're looking at that as an investment. So if you are looking at digital currency, you're going to end up reporting it on a Schedule D, and then you're going to either put in if you have it more than a year, long term. If it's less than a year, it's short term, and it's going to be considered as an asset on there. But good question.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and then sometimes when I was doing tax season, I had this some client, and he brought in like a long around. He had a lot of transactions because I
Mhm.
believe he was a day trader, and it was over like quite a few pages of the from I believe it was Robinhood. And when it comes to dealing with clients that have like a huge list or huge transaction recording, do we have to report every single one of those transactions, or how does that go? Like for the basis or understanding or calculating my gain or the loss.
Yeah, so the way it works is going to be first in, first out. So you want to basically try to track as much as you can. Some of them, I like it on some of the formats. They combine them all together from when they purchase it and then when they sold those assets. That's also nice to do. But if it's going to be a different basis amounts, you are going to end up having to put each of those assets. What's nice about it is um, some of the brokerage accounts that you might have or they might get into, they actually have an export to an Excel spreadsheet format, and you can upload it into your tax returns. But in some cases, if it's going to be one asset to another one, same year, short term, purchase on the same dates, sold on a different date, but all the assets were. Then you can also put it. You can also combine them all together as one, as long as it has the reports of the basis, the product, and the sale date, and they're all the same type of stock or asset, I should say. Then you can combine it all in one, but it does get very tricky on that one because you want to make sure that you kind of understand it on when they purchased it and they sold it. There might be some cases to where they have to look up the purchase price and the purchase amount, and it all depends on this type of stock and the assets that it has. But There are some cases you can. There are some cases you can't. Just don't go by the summary on the front page. That's not really what you should be looking at. It should be the couple of pages where they kind of combine them all together with each of the stocks. You can combine those ones together. But I don't suggest it doing this whole summary because sometimes the IRS gets 1099s in different amounts by the summary pages on the second page. So you want to make sure you get the information as accurate as possible, so that way you can reduce any errors and it's accurate with what the IRS has as well. Thanks, Roberto.
Awesome. Thank you, Jose. And then if anyone watching us today from Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, feel free to comment down below and Mr. Jose Rojas will be able to answer all of your questions regarding digital assets. Now, I do have another one for you, Jose.
Mm-hmm.
This is like one of the, we kind of touched on it a little bit early in the beginning, the introduction. It's been a very, now after COVID, everyone was very into cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and all that sorts of stuff. Can you elaborate more on how cryptocurrencies work when it comes to tax purposes, or what do you recommend as
Yeah, so on cryptocurrencies, what you're looking at is a digital asset and you're looking at an investment property. It's kind of like if you're investing in gold or silver, you're hoping that the asset will go up. Now, there's going to be two types of that type of assets. One that you can actually use as a method of payments or income. That's going to be considered something different, and that's going to go on to Schedule C because you're using it as a business type. But if you're using it as an investment, like if you're going through Robinhood or a third party app and you're just investing it just to see if that product will go up higher, then yeah, um, that will that will be like an investment. NFTs are definitely going to be an investment because it's not really a currency. You purchase it; it's mostly a digital asset. So that's why IRS on the new tax forms they just open up the draft that they now it's the new lingo now is digital assets, and you want to make sure that you report all the digital assets that you purchased, you sold, or any of the yeah, there it is, and any of the if you can see it on kind of in the middle where it says digital assets, this is going to be the new 1040 2023 form. And if you receive any rewards offering digital, it has to be in digital format. That's going to be the new one. So that's going to be the new 1040 2023. You can see the filing status is not on the top. They actually put it right there in the middle as well. So it's a little bit different than what we normally would look at on that one. But most people, when you talked about digital currencies, when you had that question before, or people would understand it's like, oh, did you purchase any Bitcoin? And then they're like, oh, that's what that is. Now they're going to more specific with an NFTs, with all the different digital currencies that they have out in the formats and all the different types of NFTs that are out there.
well?
They're trying to gather all of it because IRS does end up tracking it. Um, and they do actually send out letters or IRS letters for that. I have a couple of cases that it was in 2020. I think Coinbase sent out a 1099K, and now they have to report that as income, but it was actually an investment. So there are going to be some situations where you have to, in my case, I had to represent these clients. Still ongoing case, but it's one of those things where he was day trading one of those digital currencies, and we had to recreate the whole thing because there wasn't really I want to say a summary page or anything you have to look at for basis. So we had to track our own bases for those digital currencies, especially since Coinbase didn't know what they're doing or what they had to do. They're sending out 1099s. It was a miscellaneous. It was a 1099K. It was a lot of different 1099s that they sent out, and unfortunately, one of my clients got caught Oh, he wasn't my client until he got caught. Then he became my client, but he got caught with the digital currency. Didn't know he had to report it. He has to report it, and everybody should be reporting it on their return. So it's very, very important that you guys do. So that's a good one. Hopefully that helps out. Explain it.
Yeah, that was a huge, huge help. So I didn't know about that new change until you told me today.
Yeah,
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 so thank you. And yeah, and then that's pretty much all of our questions that we have today for our digital assets segment of today. And also, if anyone wants to know more information about cryptocurrency, then feel free to go visit our website, latinotaxfeds.com, because I believe, on Tuesday, we're going to have Victor Jamarillo, an attorney within the IRS, that's going to be giving a presentation on crypto and taxes. And it's going to be a very well informative, and it's one of the hot topics as well.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, and that in the past when they first came out with the NFTs, I thought there was going to be a like an art painting investment. And
Mm.
those art painting investments are going to be a little different, and they actually get taxed at a higher tax rate than stocks. But it's one of those things. IRS keeps changing every year, and we kind of just can't roll with what the changes are going to be, and we just want to keep you guys up to date with all that.
Yeah, and then speaking of there's always different changes and people doing different things with NFTs. I'm not sure if you came across this. I believe it was during COVID, like 3 years ago. There was a real estate agent that was selling a house, or he was selling like an NFT, and if you bought that NFT, it came with the house. And so I don't know
Yeah,
if you ever
yeah.
saw that, but I thought that was pretty interesting. I've never seen that before. I'm not sure if he was able to sell the NFT or if anyone purchased it, but it was pretty interesting how people are always coming up with different ideas.
Yeah, if there's a lot of money behind it, I'm sure the IRS is going to be looking at it, and
Oh
they
yeah.
want to make sure that they get their taxes on there on that one as well. So
Hmm.
if they're selling if the house comes with that NFT, you know how much those NFTs are selling to buy a house as a gift to buying that NFT.
Hmm.
That's one of those things. Is man, it's getting to a big market, and the IRS wants to make sure that they capture that market and make sure there's no stone unturned on there. But yeah, that's
Hmm.
crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jose, and thank you everyone for tuning in into our tactic segment. So follow us on social media to stay up to the latest and to see when our next tactic is going to be available.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a
Uh,
festive day.